Hey leaders, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to share a recorded interview with Joanna Schroyer, one of our brand new team builders who just ranked up this past month, and share a little bit more about her backstory and her leadership and her team. So Joanna, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be asked, really. So I'm Joanna Schroyer. I am from Canton, Mississippi. I live right outside of the Jackson area. I've been married to my husband, Justin, for about almost 14 years. We have 3 kids, Jaden, Jordan, and Jackson, 2 girls and a boy, 11, 9, and 7. I should not be a Matilda Jane. I have a PhD in equine biomechanics. It makes no sense for me to sell clothes. All I wanted to do when I was a little girl was play with horses all day. So this kind of fell into my lap in a non-traditional way, and I love it here. So a couple other little fun facts about me is I only play praise music in my office and diffuse highest potential oil, just because I need all the good vibes and juju in my Matilda Jane office.
That's awesome. Okay, so you have animals. Do you want to share more about these animals and what keeps you busy every day?
So yeah, I do. I get to play with horses a lot now. We live on a 30-acre hobby farm, so we have 4 horses. One of those is my old gal. She is 29 this year. I've had her since she was 3. She's my show horse from growing up, and get choked up just thinking about her. She's just taught me so much. I recently purchased 3 horses. So each of my kids have one. So there's 4 out there now. I teach a lot of lessons. We do a lot of riding. They're headed to their first riding show in just a couple of weeks, actually. My kids have shown miniature horses since they could walk. So we have a lot of horse things going on in my life. We also have a pig, 11 chickens, 2 goats, a dog, and some feral cats. So it stays really busy here. My husband travels about 90% of the time. So I'm here alone a lot with the kids, which really makes you focus in on your time and how you're spending those things. And as if those things plus Matilda Jane were enough, my 3 kids are homeschooled. So a 6th grader, a 4th grader, and a 2nd grader, homeschooling here a lot. So I'm busy just like most of the other ladies that do Matilda Jane. I don't think any of us are sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, I'm trying to picture just even 30 acres and what that looks like, because we don't have land like this, like that near us. So
it's a lot of grass.
It's a lot of grass. Yeah, that's a good way to say that. So tell me about how you got started with Matilda Jane.
So I've been with the company since 2016. My first season was Adventure Begins. So that's 11 seasons. Anyway, I was offered, someone asked me, my upline at the time asked me if I would be interested in doing this. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what this means. And so she gave me some information and I jumped in with both feet. So I had 3 small children at the time. I had 3 babies in 5 years. So, and I told you that I had a PhD, and all of a sudden I was a stay-at-home mom with these 3 kids and didn't know what to do with myself. Like my brain was going to mush. And so my husband and I really just agreed that I needed something for myself to give my mind something to do, something to think about, in a way to meet some new people and kind of form some friendships and create some relationships there. And I really did not expect it to be what it is.
I'll keep going. I'm waiting for the rest of this.
I don't think I thought I would enjoy it as much as I do. And I also was not prepared for the relationships that I've built inside this company, the way they would affect my life and the way they would affect who I am, the things I would learn about myself in all of the things. And some of that has to do with my own personal team, but it also has to do with other trunk keeper relationships that I've built over the years. And so it's just manifested into something way bigger than I could have ever put my finger on 6 years ago.
So I can only imagine that living on 30 acres, homeschooling, taking care of animals, has your head down, keeping busy, and can be somewhat isolating. How were
Yes.
you finding customers when you kind of live a life inside of your own, bubble, if you will?
Oh, Heidi, that is probably my number one struggle as a trunk keeper is finding new customers. And it is because of the things you just said. My children don't play traditional sports. We don't go to school outside the home. And so that has been it is a continual rate, like I shouldn't say race, but a continual like cycle of finding those new customers. And for me, it's really built on relationships. I'm highly involved in church. So that some of those relationships take a long time to come to fruition, but that's really where I have done a lot of work in that area. We have some homeschool co-op type things. And so I have some friendships there. I have horse show people that we have a relationship there. And my online and social media is a huge help to me in that department because that's where people have gotten to know me.
Okay. Thank you. I know that was a side question, but I was just curious. I had to ask. So let's talk about your leadership. You at one point ranked up to STK and then of course, just recently to team builder. So what's the timeline on that?
A long time. I should have checked the date on that, but I went to STK and beyond when it was still in Fort Wayne. So that was several years ago. And I've had structure for team builder in the past. It just didn't come to fruition.
Okay.
I think timing is just really everything. It's always been a goal of mine, I think, since I hit senior trunk keeper to rank up. My ultimate goal is team leader. Like that's where I would like to go.
Mm-hmm.
I just clearly haven't made those bounds as quickly as some other people. And that's for a variety of reasons, I'm sure. And some of them are known and some of them are unknown.
So you just did though. So something had to give, something had to kind of kick it up a notch. Walk me through what was the magical mixture that made that happen?
I wish I could say that it was any one thing, but I think it's just the time was right. The right people were in the right places at the right time. So I have a very small team. I have 4 ladies on my front line, and one of those is an STK. The reality for this particular thing is I've been talking about it for a really long time. And
To them,
yes. I mean, I've been talking about rank up for seasons because that's something I truly, truly wanted for all of us. And so I don't think it was foreign to them. It's getting the right people in there. And I think for the month of August, it just kind of all came together. We had Mimi Little stepped in with some huge rallying cries for the entire team. And I think really put a picture together of them to show them how it was possible. And why I think that's important is because sometimes as a leader, and y'all, I'm an Enneagram 1, have zero problems telling people what to do, been a leader like my whole life. That's just how it is. But that it takes someone else stepping in and saying, hey, do y'all see this is possible? Like we can do this, to be everyone's cheerleader. And so she really took a huge leap and put us all in a group text and just kept those check boxes, those check marks all checked. Because what I'd been lacking, I had a front line, I was lacking an STK.
Okay.
Once that box got checked, then everybody else could see how what was really possible in that moment. And I think the story that no one sees, and I'm sure this happens all the time with rank ups, we are not a singular instance, is the story of ladies that just don't quit. I mean, there's a lady on my team, love her, strong woman. She had not really sold more than $500 in any of her previous months. And she hit active.
Wow.
August. And she had like $1,000 to go with 7 to 10 days left in the month. And she did it. She just wouldn't quit when she saw what was ahead of us. And I think that it's the vision that's the most important. And part of that vision, I think, was created by me, but also by Mimi. One of the trainings, and I've had this training before, but your training that you did recently on motivation and how to speak to people is vastly important when you're talking to your team. And those of us who have smaller teams and can concentrate on individual people, really finding out what motivates them and how to speak to them, that is the key. They answer, they react to that. And it's because it's ingrained in them to react to that. So it's really important that you take that seriously and use it, put it into practice. And so I had that part of the puzzle, and Mimi had the whole like rallying cry checklist puzzle, and we worked together. And when those ladies saw, what we could do, they just wouldn't quit. And it was incredible. I cannot describe the feeling of watching them just not quit.
Are you getting emotional? Because you're proud, right?
I am.
Big difference.
I am. Yeah. I'm really, really proud of them. And it just.
All right, now you're making me cry.
And it means a lot to me because ultimately it's your name at the top and you get the recognition for it, but it's really them.
Yeah. And you made sure that when we shared with the field that you got ranked, that they were recognized, and it makes a difference. Yeah.
It's really important to me that they receive the accolades for doing their jobs as well. Because it's not about that somebody sold, just crazy amount. Is all you just paid us. Like, and that has been, that still is my goal. My goals are paid as.
That's actually a good reminder for me when I post recognition to make sure that I'm honoring the names of everyone who got you there, even at paid as, right? Every month when people are paid as, that's a really good point. So what I'm hearing you say is you cast the vision, and you had to have done that repeatedly because you had the vision for years to make this happen. And you got the right people involved, right? So the right mixture, which, what I'm hearing from that is, Joanna, correct me if I'm wrong, but you probably had recruited others and they were on your team and they didn't quite make it, right? So you could not give up. You had to go and recruit more. Is that a safe assumption?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you just said that you had to speak their motivational language in order to get them to go, but also getting all of them onto a group text and putting those carrots in front of them over and over again. I'm assuming, because I've been a part of this before, it creates the sisterhood. It creates the team effort. It creates the FOMO, fear of missing out. I don't want to not be a part of this. I want to contribute, right?
Right.
But you're also casting a little vision in front of them. We, in Mastermind, we talked about the horizon goal versus the milestone goal. So getting onto that group text to try to push them towards that month goal is a milestone goal, even though we know further out it's team leader for you.
Right.
But for right now, team, let's go. And that is where I see the most success with leaders. It's when they grab their team and they bring them in, and it's an inclusive environment. You're part of this. We want you. And we're all going to work together as a team, and we're sisters. We're doing it together. We're cheering each other on, right? People don't want to miss out. So yeah, we all have busy lives, but we're all doing it together. And it's kind of helping to grab their focus and put it on this issue at hand. So that's awesome. This is so good. So good. Anything else that I'm missing about the perfect mixture that you'd add into that?
Well, I think one thing I didn't say that I would like to say, and you reminded me of this more than once over the course of Mastermind, and that is that for the leader, it is really your job it is your job to cast that vision, but it's your job to remain focused on what your job is and not get distracted by the other little things going on. And if I do my job and check these boxes, the rest of this is going to fall into place. And I think that was a huge thing for me in August, because it felt so like this is going to happen. What if this doesn't happen? And what if this doesn't happen? And what if, and I had all this stuff. And every time I would like go back to your text where it said that and be like, Heidi says, focus on you stay focused on your goal. What is your goal?
Your goal. Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about anybody else's. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Stay focused on what you're supposed to be focused on. And I think that's a really important factor. And that happens, I mean, every month we start over, right? So that happens every month. Focus on your goal and you can't be distracted by anybody else's.
Yeah, so true. Because we can't do it all. And there's something very magical about a focused effort. If you are it's kind of like the focus of the sun on, starting a fire, with mirrors or something. That's what is coming to my head is that is. But, when you angle mirrors a certain way and it's the focus of that sun on a leaf and all of a sudden it's burning up, it wouldn't have done that if it were just spread out everywhere. So it's that focused intention that makes a difference. That's so true. So what if you could give any piece of advice to the leaders who are, maybe they've been more established, their team has been in tech for a while, but it's just kind of lacking some of that excitement or, momentum. What would you suggest?
Oh, that's a tough question. And not because I don't think I have an answer, but because so many of them have been here. Like, you all are pros at this. And I look up to so many of them. So to ask me to give them advice is a little scary. But I really think it goes back to what I just said. For you to be consistent and be focused on your goals. And when your team sees that and you're engaged, that they respect that. Beyond that, it's your job to reach out to them and try to engage those other people. And once that happens and you've created that relationship with them, I think that is where the magic happens. And some people you're going to have a great relationship with, and some people you're not.
What do they do if they don't have the magical combination? I keep using magical, the right combination of team members who are all in. I mean, what would you suggest?
You go recruit new ones.
Yes.
There is not a thing you can do. You have to let those people go. And sometimes it's a hard conversation of like, not just let them go, but like, let them go. But you recruit new people. You have to bring on new people. And I will say something in this moment that may not resonate with a lot of people. And that is that while I would never deny someone the opportunity to work with me if you approached me, I also am looking for very specific people for my team. And those are people who really want to work this like a business and not just a hobby. And you find those people by doing the interview process that you did a training on not too long ago about how you front end all those questions, and you bring those, you ask those questions on the front end, and then you know whether you want to work with them or not. That doesn't always happen. And there's going to be people who come on and they're going to not, this is just a chapter for them and it's going to close and they're going to leave. But there are people that's going to stick. It's not a fail-proof way to recruit, but I am just very intentional about who I want to work with. And it is for that reason that I want to have a relationship with you. The biggest joy in this job for me, and I know I just called it a job, but the biggest joy is watching other women's businesses grow, watching them succeed. And I can't do that if I don't have a relationship with them.
You remind me of Christy Reed in Michigan. She says the same thing about her team and has regular calls with them. She just shared with me when we were in Cape Cod. That's huge. You know, I think you're right. When you are, I call it front loading. When you front load the recruiting process, you're starting the relationship off with a very clear expectation that they're going to respond to you, they're going to communicate with you, and they need to depend on you to a certain extent.
Right.
For direction and leadership. So that's good. I'm glad you took that training to heart and that you paid attention to that, because it really is a good tool to use. Okay, so final question. Where are we going to see you heading over the course of the next year or two? What can we expect?
I'm gonna just keep doing what I do, and that's staying consistent in my business. I'm gonna continue recruiting the same way I recruit, and ultimately my goal is team leader, and I'm not a deadline, like hard line person on those sorts of things, because I think it happens organically. But I mean, I look to see my team continue to grow and just continue to do what I've been doing. And when you do that, that's where success is found.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your success. I'm so proud of you and happy that you've moved up and you're part of our leader crew over here on Facebook.
It's good to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Joanna. And if you guys have if people have questions, can they go directly to you? Is that okay?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks again. And guys, enjoy this. Feel free to share this with your fellow leaders. Bye.
Bye, y'all.